morning to you all, and good morning to those who are online. We have two speakers here, and we have another speaker online. So we'll be trying to make this as digital, inclusive, and fluid as possible. So we're all debating here today education, but how it shapes the future of our generations, and how do we prepare generations for in an inclusive way, and to make it part of our path to growth and to peace, actually, and to achieve a balanced education. We know that nations are pretty much apart. I'm sorry, I'm breathing too much. Pretty much apart politically, religiously, but also economically, and that brings us a challenge into education, into the educational choices, and we will be talking about digital, because digital could be a way to promote equity, further access to knowledge, a wider range of people getting together in all places, but how do we reach them? That's an issue, a very important issue. And also, if digital does bring us all together into further education, then will this make us live in a world with a stronger well-being and personal development tools? So we're trying to navigate all these areas today and discuss education and personal development pairing with each other. And we have three amazing women to discuss this with us. So we have Sofia Rocha right here, researcher and PhD at University of Aveiro here. She's also a member of the Pedagogical Council of the University and the support team for curricular and pedagogical innovation. And during her master's degree before, Sofia had the opportunity to represent her peers as a member of the Mechanical Engineering Department Board. She's passionate about the possible paths of education and the ways we learn and we teach, right, Sofia? So we'll be getting to that. And then online we have Raneem Diab from Lebanon, an humanitarian that believes in knowledge through sharing. She advocates for all religions to learn together and from each other. She also promotes women empowerment, coordinating the Abahat's Resource Center for Gender Equality. And she's the social impact strategist for Success Group for Education. She's also the co-founder for Moderator, an NGO for community development. So her experiences range from political diplomacy, journalism, environment, and international businesses, but I would say that empowering women through human rights is really passionate. And then we have Professor Sandra Soares, PhD psychologist, but she's now the University of Aveiro Vice Dean, and she's responsible for curricular innovation. So that will be our challenge for this morning. Previously, Sandra was at the board of the Pedagogic Quality Evaluation, and we'll go over this. She's been involved in several European projects for the learning processes transformation, namely the ECIU University. As researcher, she's been awarded the Living Science Award, Ciência Viva, from Portugal. And, I'm sorry, I got lost here, but I'll be getting back into my notes, or otherwise into, I don't know, into our talk, which is mainly where we'll start. So let's start with you, Sofia, as we had planned. And probably I could, while I look for this, I would like you to start from the very origin of our conversation, which is digital. Is it really a changing tool? Is it really the way of the future?
Yeah, I think so, especially since COVID. The digital was really important during that time to continue the process of education and continue educating itself. because otherwise we will just stop the progress and we'll be quiet in time, people wouldn't learn, and digital was really important in that time, and I think it's important to keep digital in the process. But I think it's also, we must keep in mind that digital isn't a solution in everything. I'm from an engineering, and hands-on is really important. So digital must really complement the hands-off and the practice that we need. And I think that's important here.
Yeah,
Just to give here.
And we'll get that. Is it a compliment or is it
Yeah.
the carrot ahead, or how do we deal with it? How do we balance it, right?
Yeah, I think that's the key word, balance, because digital also really shuts us down. We are in our home, we just have the screen in front of us, and we don't communicate with each other as we do personally, I think so. And it's important for students,
So we'll get to the human side of it.
Yeah, the human side.
Because there's always a double side to digital. Sandra, we were just mentioning how you were involved with curricular innovation. Does that necessarily go through digital?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think digital is a tool for some goals we want to achieve. And I think balance, as you mentioned, is the word here, because as we see it, and with the experience of the COVID and all that goes after that, we can see that sometimes it's not beneficial. So we need to know what we want to achieve in terms of competencies. That should be our focus in higher education, for example, and education in general. And what I think COVID brought us all was a window of opportunity to how we teach and to how we learn. And I think we cannot go back with the changes we have made so far. And again, digital, because there was a misunderstanding before, more than now, I would say, that digital would be equivalent to transforming education. That's not the case. Again, it depends on what you want to achieve. And of course, never forget the human dimension, because that's absolutely critical, and it will be more than ever in a very pacing society with all the changes we are
And digital
facing.
will always be programmed by humans.
Exactly.
So you cannot forget about that. But does it delay the social elevator, or does it enhance the social elevator?
I would see the later. I would go for the later. I think it will enhance. Because we will not have to spend more time in doing some things. But it's again a balance. We need to be careful about this, because the idea is that you have more time to think critically and not the opposite. And it's very easy to, especially with AI and all that, it's very easy that
to forget about thinking.
To forget about
Forget
thinking.
about the
Exactly.
mechanical exercise
Exactly.
that distinguishes us from all
The
other
other-
animals,
exactly.
and would probably bring our society into a better future. Do we have? Oh, okay, because I was not seeing Raneem. We do have you. So before we can say that digital takes us further, we need to make sure that that everybody has equal access to education, and then that's when digital comes in. Is that why you focus on women? Do you choose a destination and you challenge women because they were more deprived of all options, or is it just generally for an equity reason?
Gorgeous panel. When I chose to focus on women, it was based on personal struggle for sure, as a woman myself, in the work field, etc. But giving access to all, and specifically women, for sure, it's launched from the perspective of gender equity and gender equality. But at the same time, imagine a world where everyone, including women, they have access to education. Imagine that we give them the key to the path of becoming decision makers, well knowledgeable and well cultured decision makers, including them in all decision making processes, be it in politics, be it in business, be it in society. Focusing on women is both from a gender equity perspective and from a personal struggle also as well, but from the interest and inspiration of including more women in decision-making processes
And when you
giving
when
they
you go
deserve.
when you go specifically to the future of education, do you then enhance digital as the main tool?
Well, definitely digital is a main tool, whether maybe this week we can have a debate about it, but whether we agree with it or we prefer it or not, it is a key tool in the future, because the new technology developments that are emerging on quickly recognize the importance of lifelong learning. So when it comes to digital, we're speaking about reskilling and updating competencies that will be required more in the near future, thus enabling learners of all ages and genders to adapt to new expectations in the 21st century workplace and life. So riding the wave and the digital world is a must. However, this is where my key focus comes, and I hope to echo through this panel. With the future of education becoming more digital and with all the positives that will come with it, we still have to orient our focus and intentions and dearly push for the focus on social impact and initiatives, and combining that relationship or even creating the relationship sometimes between the desired profit and social impact. We have to include it and focus our education on giving back to the community, especially when you speak through this platform. We have global leaders, we have people who are inspired and here to also inspire. So let's focus on social impact and the importance of giving back.
Yeah, it would be amazing to be able to daily or yearly at least measure the impact of all deployment done and in education. Yeah. And Sofia, I would like to hear, coming from Raneem, I'm sorry, there's an issue that really challenges us all, which is the teachers. We were talking about students learning, but now how do you, the world is changing at light speed, and digital brings it on. But then how do we get the tools across to teachers throughout the world, across the world? So how do you reach to them, and then how do you measure the impact of what you do?
I think I will say a phrase that is not entirely true, but I really like it. It's educate to educate. So we need to educate our teachers. They need to know all the tools that are available. The students know them and they use them, and the teachers must also know them and teach the students how to use them properly. For instance, we were talking about AI, and I think it's a really powerful tool that teachers should be teaching the students how to use AI in a proper way with critical thought. But
for that, teachers need to be taught.
They need to
they need to be educated before.
Yeah, of course, and it's a constant learning. The teacher must be the one that is constantly being taught and learning more than students, honestly, because they are all amongst their path. They are teaching different students with different ages, probably, because a lot of people are now rejoining university to learn new things, and it's really important for the teachers to know how to indulge different audiences, different age gaps, and that's really important. And because a person with 40 years doesn't learn the same way with the people of 20, and they need to know how to address these publics at the same time.
But is it easy to reach out to all teachers? Because we're the previous panel, I don't know how many of you were here talking about oceans, but we have the same issue, which is we're going 2 different speeds, well, 10 different speeds, but at least 2, north and south. And when we talk about digital, AI, providing teachers with tools, we are talking about from an European, northern point of view. And the perspective is totally different when we talk about the world and the changing education.
Yeah, that's
yes,
true.
just
That's
just a
true.
yes.
But I think if they don't want to do it, we must show them the importance of doing them, especially because otherwise the students will not be interested at all in what they are teaching. And
Okay, so we need to identify the gap
Yeah.
to then being able to bridge it. And Sandra, I would like to come into your psychologist point of view addressing this same issue because, okay, we may provide students with digital tools. We may provide teachers with digital tools, but how do we prevent students, their minds from being oblivious and abstracted into the little thingies, the objects?
Well, I think we have several tools or ways to do that. We need to work not only with the teachers, as we were talking about, but also with the students in this respect and involve them in this transformation because we need to have their voices in this path. And that's what we're trying to do at the University of Aveiro, in which we co-construct the changes in the curriculum and the way they learn and the teachers teach with the voice of the students. That's crucial. And we cannot talk about lifelong learning of the society without talking about lifelong learning of the teachers. So we know it's challenging because not only knowledge is being produced every day and they need to be updated with that, but the truth is that specifically in higher education, most of the teachers did not have training for didactics, to teach. This is a reality, and when we talk about the northern countries, they do need to have this training to be able to teach. It's not the case in Portugal, to talk about our national reality. And so what we are trying to do, what we need to do, the world is changing, the profiles, the needs, the ages, the culture of the students is very diverse. That's what we're trying to instigate. So we cannot teach and we cannot learn in the same way. So what we're trying to do with all this training and work we do with the professors is that we change it in a way that we all together from different scientific fields, from different nationalities, from different ages, and together with the society, NGOs, companies, and whatsoever, solve societal challenges. That's what we're trying to do here at the University of Aveiro in our European Alliance, that we foster this challenge-based approach. And again, we need to cooperate to solve the problems we are all facing.
And Sandra, since you're at it, coming from Raneem's point of view in the measurement of impact, do you have specific goals that you measure when you provide the university approach?
Well, we can use different ways of measuring that, and we are constructing the indicators that, because it's not easy to measure the impact, but we have different ways to do it. And again, if we bring the society, universities or higher education should not have walls as they did in the past, so we need to construct these changes with the society, and of course bringing the society to this path we are all going through means that we will have measure of impact in the society towards because you bring them to the solutions.
Okay.
And that's very relevant, and because bringing the psychology point of view, of course digital is relevant to this goal, but it's also very important to balance the digital, and when we're talking about meetings or whatsoever, using digital terms, we need to have face-to-face to build trust.
Yeah.
Because we cannot
Again,
cooperate.
the human relation, right?
We cannot cooperate if we do not build trust in our relations. That's the basis of cooperation within humans. So,
which is very interesting, Raneem, and I'm coming back to you because you have this worldwide perspective and working humanitarianly. You work not only with women and for women, but for people in a general way. And how do you see the bridge between the academic and the emotional growth? So can they go side by side? Are they endangered in their relation?
Absolutely. First of all, I wanted to compliment what Sandra has said by having a society that cares about solutions, so to speak. I want to speak from a personal perspective as well. Within my experience at Success Group, whose team helps young future university students to pursue their dream education. So our career consultants focus on bridging markets, which is what you've just asked about. So the bridge between the emotional growth and the current selections in education. So the career consultants focus on bridging markets future with current career choices. However, we train students on giving back to their societies and having a solution-driven mentality, which brings us to my belief that what's missing from the equation of education and the future of education is focusing on an advanced partnership between social organizations and profit-oriented businesses. And the questions start flowing. How to build this relationship on one hand. Also, we can think about how to maintain a sustainable relationship between desired profits and social impact. So to resonate with a firm belief that's also very debatable when it comes back to society and having solution-driven mentalities, I believe, and coming from the third world, I'm from Lebanon, from the Middle East, I can affirm that the world, from my perspective, does not need more engineers, doctors, or business leaders. It needs kind hearts and purposeful minds. So we tell students, be a doctor, be a kind-hearted one, but be a leader, but a conscious one. So we do encourage youth to dream to be multi-billionaire business owners, but we also direct them and advise them to listen to people's needs and commit to dedicate business resources to solving problems. So, and here comes the whole idea of who said that caring and social impact doesn't pay you. So it's really sustainable. And as a social impact strategist myself, I would always advise invest your money, ideas and dreams in positive actions. So it's always that the future of education, if I'm looking into a vision and strategizing into years ahead, but I'm not assessing the social needs that are emerging now, we will
not reach the future, of course. it's the
with
notion
all
of
the
future.
AI-oriented development.
But from your experience, when you do preach to business, saying, well, we need kindness and you need to invest now because otherwise we won't have the same people reaching out to what we're calling future right now, does business listen to you? What's your impact?
That's a great question, actually. Does business listen? So when you're sitting on a table with business men and businesswomen, hopefully, I always hope that there's more businesswomen we sit at the table, but so far not as much as desired. Their first question is, I have this amount of money, I want it to double, I want it to triple, and you have to put a plan for them. And unfortunately, so far, when they do hire social impact strategists, it's the sole reason is for having a good reputation, which is nothing to object about. But having the intention of actually wanting to give back to the community and the societies that you are profiting from, why won't you give back? Because believe me, I can show you by numbers and graphs and projections and mathematics that it will give you back more profit. The profit is not always in a dollar sign. The profit sometimes could be with a social impact given, be it employment, increased employment, etc. So I don't want to start listing all the benefits. But having this conversation with business people is not the easiest, but believe me, somewhere in their hearts, they do want to see positive impact in the society, because they tell you, if I'm getting money and at the same time I'm giving back positive impact, so why not?
And it resonates. I do believe, and we're in a sustainable meeting, sustainability meeting, where ESG pillars for measuring sustainability have been growing intensely, and all raters ask for the ESG reports in order for investors to invest. So businesses do start listening to that, even if it is for their own interest. They believe that if a community is healthier and has more thought and more learnings, they will be better clients for any reason in any part of the world. And Sandra, I would like to come into personalized learning right now, because it can also be scary if we're talking about tailor-made contents. So if I'm allowed to choose whichever subjects I like the most, whichever subjects I'm more interested in an academic point of view, will I not be a less provided human being later on because I won't have a wider range of knowledge? How do you deal with that?
Again, the word is balance, I would say, because of course, from a political point of view, for those leaders who decide on the strategy of the institutions, you need to balance on what they really need to know to have the necessary skills to face whatever the professional world will bring in terms of and the needs of the society, but also on the other hand give them the freedom to choose different subjects, because that's very rich, right? If we foster interdisciplinarity, because they will have more tools to solve this SDG, and that's something we try to align, the different courses, the different challenges, we link them to the sustainable goals. So that's you need to balance on what they really need as competencies in a certain subject, and the freedom to choose other scientific fields, which is very relevant.
But aren't students willing to more and more go on a tailor-made mode?
They are, but still the curriculum is based on mandatory courses.
That's where the balance
that's where the balance comes in, right?
Sofia, in coming into diving into the 21st century, we can't say we're coming into it anymore. What would you say, from your perspective, what would you say are the main challenges in a broad way of education?
Yeah, actually, Raneem was talking about the problems of the knowledge benefiting society, and through my experience, that's really important. But sometimes I had the opportunity to work with several companies, most of engineering companies, and when I perform like life cycle analysis for them, for their products. I don't know if you all aware of what life cycle analysis is, but basically it enables us to know the impact of the product in the environment in terms of emissions and radioactive and all that stuff, let's say it like that. And when I showed the company how could they improve their environmental performances and reduce waste, they were really interested in that. And I think the goal in the 21st century is when we give the students the tools, because most students in engineering, in environmental engineering, mechanical engineering, know what a life cycle analysis is and how to do it, but sometimes they don't see how to use it, the importance to go to the company, and this is the key point. It's critical thought, teaching the students how to use the tools they are given. And it's really the most important things in the university. It's put students to work together with companies, with society, see the problems with society, and University of Aveiro actually does this. We have like several subjects, classes even, that are with the ECIU University, and they are solving societal problems with the challenge-based learning methodology, most of them. And it's really interesting because the first step is to understand the problems in the community and find solutions to solve these problems with the learning that they are given in the classes. So the methodology is we have these tools, now find the problem and solve it.
Yeah.
And this really
And take them
interesting.
into place, into the terrain. But do you believe that that will be the way moving forward? Will that bring you any challenges? Because you're closer than all of us from being a student.
I think the biggest challenge will be the implementation. Bring this to the classes, to all classes, to all subject, because every single area is different. The way to do this in every single area is different. But combining areas, I think it's very interesting, because working with people from education, engineering, bringing everybody together, it's really interesting the way to solve the problem. It's very diverse. I think people from engineering are very logical in thinking. I think, honestly, we think of...
That's prejudice on
yourself.
yourself.
I don't think it's prejudice, honestly, because the way we think, it's different. And when I'm with people from arts, for instance, it's totally different. And I think it's very interesting and very cool, actually, to see, for instance, developing a new product. For instance, we have designs, we have engineerings, and the way they combine their knowledge, it's out of this world. That's why we have so many. We are moving with electric, with so different designs, and it's the combination of all these different knowledges that comes from all different peoples, and combining everyone is really important.
We can tell how passionate you are about this. And Sandra, we were just talking behind doors on the international students coming in and on our students going away. And although it is, then again, a first world thing, is this part of the learning journey that Sofia was just talking about, the whole thing coming together? Do you feel that bringing in international students and opening up to them and having local students prepare for the others, is that part of the skilling of students for a broader learning process?
Absolutely, and it's part of touching people's hearts, I would say, because you get to put yourself on someone else's shoes when you go somewhere else and then come back to your reality. And of course, there are many competencies and skills that we train, that we learn, that we develop while interacting with others from different cultures, different ways of thinking, different rules. And it's very important if we think about humanity and the future of humanity, that we are compassionate about this. And so I think there are many values of being being within an international setting and university, for example. But I would say human values are on top of all this, the values that an international community bring.
And that brings them, that makes students be further aware and further available to whatever comes. And Raneem, I wanted to come back at your heart-building personalities that you stated before, because from your perspective, and you were saying, well, I come from a third world, and we're talking about first world, and I would like to, focus on the world as is, as a general world, but of course with a lot of differences. So would you say that students are generally open to a multi, is Raneem still with us?
Yes.
You are?
Yes,
okay, because I was seeing a different image, I'm sorry. So would you say that students are available to have this journey of learning that brings them all kinds of backpacks of knowledge, and not just their focused studying like engineering or mathematics or whatever they are? Because when you come from a deprived country economically, you focus on having a job, you focus on having a nearby future, and not just on being a great human being, even if you are. So how would you see this? How do you bridge the two concepts, the survival mode and the greater mode?
Well, firstly, I want to appreciate spotting the light on the differences. And when we think of the future, it's totally different when speaking from a European perspective versus a third world perspective, and that's why I really appreciate this panel, because it bridges both perspectives. What can we learn and what can we listen to help other countries to overcome, etc. Well, personally, if I want to look at, for example, success group data, we see hundreds and even thousands of students who are going abroad to pursue non-traditional type of careers, because they really want to invest their potential and their future into something maybe they cannot learn here. So students are not as before. They are, I think also that's highly affected by the open-mindedness of parents and the access of information they have now. Now they have offices that will help them to discover what kind of careers you can pursue. Who knew that if you study political science, you can be this and that and that? They have always thought, if I study mathematics, I can only be a teacher. No, now you can go into IT, you can go into this, you can go into that. So we tell them and we offer them that the world is at your doorstep. Be it pursuing your education through online and digital platforms, or if you want to go there, it's doable. Your dreams are doable. So that's speaking from Lebanese perspective. But at the same time, recently in the past year, it's a totally different data. We have around 60% of brain drainage from the country. And because you mentioned the survival mode kind of mentality. Yeah. With the economic crisis and all the difficulties that are posed upon Lebanese students, the priority has changed. They don't have the luxury and privilege of thinking about their bright future and what kind of potential they can achieve. They only have to think, how can I survive this? How can I get out of this country and maybe help my parents, etc. So the financial reason has become, unfortunately, the most important concern for incoming students.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to add one more thing. I was really touched.
Very quickly, because we're out of time. I'm sorry.
Yes, I was really touched passionately by the passion of Sofia. And she said, so I'm a real believer of multi-potential mindset. What she said, that we can come together. Of course, I do believe that a better world, actually, Sofia, starts with our strategic collective will to be the change. So we can put the efforts together and expand our horizons and possibilities across education, politics, business, health, and beyond. If we will be initiating a different future, a better future. So from this platform with Sofia and Sandra and the whole panel, I'd like to invite you to support, uplift, and hold hands, mentor, and inspire each other in all spheres of human activity.
Thank you so much, Raneem. I believe, and we're closing down, but I would like to hear you just on this quick thing, which is the learning, the journey of learning. From our resilience or resistance perspective is really tough when you're surviving, but it's a new world. And as Raneem was saying, the world has changed, the educational mode has changed, and no one thinks about education as a 6-year or 10-year or 12-year period of their lives, period. Everybody is constantly learning and able to do it. So how do we make it more and more sustainable? Sandra will tell, well, balance is the answer. But is there a key word or a key notion that both of you would bring to finish up this panel in terms of how can we grow stronger into the future? How can we make it more balanced into the future?
Well, I think with the changes in society and the changes in the competencies the workers need to get a new job or to be able to perform their job, this will mean that we need to have solutions for them to go back to the university or whatever and really requalify themselves in terms of competencies, because the truth is that If we think about degrees, they are too long, and we see the gap between what the competencies we are giving the students and the needs of the market. And of course, the needs of a citizen to be an active, exactly, to survive. So I think the balance is here, because people will need, citizens will need to learn. They will be forced to learn because they will be forced to get new competencies, and they need to go and get it somewhere. And especially in countries like ours, in which it's not that common that people go back to the university and get this training. It's not as natural, as common as it should be. So although we learn in informal ways, we will need to be requalified for the new competences that the future will
keep on reskilling,
keep
right?
on
Upskilling and reskilling.
Yeah. And actually, I was just listening to a talk by Harari the other day, by Fundação Manuel dos Santos, and he was talking about the main challenges in the future with this type of issues, which is mental health, because our brains are not prepared to keep changing all the time and learning completely new things all the time. We are built as more in a more predictable way, and the way things are moving, well, there is some high probability that things will be more unpredictable, even in the skills and competencies.
The upskill of the brain will come genetically in a longer period of time than this. Sofia, we started with you, we'll end up with you in this long life journey of education. Is that how you see the future of education?
Yeah, honestly, I see the future as preparing small courses, preparing the teachers for teaching different age gaps. The schedule is really important. I think universities need to be aware that people are working. So for these courses to be open to all, it's important to understand that maybe a schedule after work is important, and to provide everyone really. Because I see a course and I see taking a master's or a bachelor's are something that just give us skills. You can do anything that you want, honestly. Most people that took a mechanical engineer with me are working in mechanical engineer, but I have people working like dance teachers, real estate. So it's just the skills that you take from this degree, especially the soft skills, public speaking, critical thought. That's really important. And people need to gain these things throughout their life and keep working with it.
And have the availability of reskilling permanently because of digital AI and all of that,
course.
and because of the world changing permanently. So Raneem, Sandra, and Sofia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We were trying to prepare the future, although just addressing the present and our challenges, and we hope we have provided you with some newer thoughts that keep you on thinking about the future, because that's where we're heading, and that's really what we're due to prepare right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.